Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix is what I have decided to talk about today. I decided to jump all the way to number 5 in the series. I will go back and do 2, 3, and 4. However, I rewatched Order of the Phoenix about 2 nights ago, and I just particularly resonated with it. I resonate with all the Harry Potters, but in particular, Order of the Phoenix, I think, is just a masterclass in illustrating institutional infiltration, psyops, mind control, industry plants, and yet all like a way to get out of this stuff. It's really, really well done and beautiful. Now, this one, and keep in mind, I'm coming from this largely from the purview of the film. It's been a while since I read the book, and I remember when I read the books, I remember Order of the Phoenix was not my favorite. In fact, it's probably my least favorite. But I will reread it, and I do remember a lot from the book. But what I'm talking about now is mostly from the perspective of the film. Now, Order of the Phoenix is really like the acid trip of the Harry Potters. And I don't mean that in the sense that, like, Harry is literally doing drugs. That's not what I'm talking about. But Harry goes through a very psychological journey, right? Now that Voldemort is back, Harry is very much more aware of this connection he has inside between him and the Dark Lord, right? And throughout the film, Voldemort is very much mind controlling him. Voldemort shows him visions. It's really interesting. So it's not, you can see how Voldemort's not all in control of what Harry is seeing, but you can clearly see that there is spiritual warfare going on, right? So in this one, after the tragic death of Cedric Diggory, right, who was murdered by Voldemort when he returned in the graveyard in the previous installment, which I think very much mirrors people like Charlie Kirk, right? I mean, say whatever you want about him. His death was tragic, totally uncalled for. Just came out of nowhere and it shocked all of us, and it was tragic, right? And I think Cedric Diggory was very much the same way. And this is the first time that Harry has seen death, right? Now, he did technically see death when his parents were murdered, but he was only like 1 year old, so he doesn't really have, I mean, he has somewhat of a memory of that, but he doesn't have a vivid image in his head of what it's like to see another human being's soul being, just taken, like to see him die, and I mean, even in that last installment in Goblet of Fire, when they're in the graveyard, just to show you how much Voldemort views other human beings, how he has no respect for human life or dignity. He literally just refers to Cedric as the spare, right? Kill the spare. When he's like that little piddly half, he hasn't come back in. I know it's goofy, but it still is sad. Yeah, he literally just refers to Cedric as a spare, just kill him. Like he's expendable, right? Now, the world, the Wizarding World, it becomes much more political, right? The Ministry of Magic becomes paranoid, right? Cornelius Fudge, the minister, he does not want to accept the fact that Voldemort is back, right? So he's kind of like this boomer, like politics as usual. He wants everything to just be running as normal and he can live his comfortable life. But Voldemort is back, and that's the fact of the matter, and he doesn't want to accept that. I mean, it's kind of unclear. Does he know? Does he not know? Either way, he's denying the truth, right? And he enacts a smear campaign on Harry, calling him a liar and that Dumbledore is a liar and they're conspiring against the ministry, right? So you can see all of these psyops going on, and there's control over the press, right? So like Harry's classmates are reading all of this garbage, right? All of these psyops that are coming from the ministry in their newspaper, which is called the Daily Prophet, and they all kind of turn against him. And this just kind of sets stage for Harry just feeling like he's on his own in this story. You know, like you really feel that atomized individualism that has hit all of us. And this story really shows us how we can overcome that, right? Now, there's not only psyops through the press, but also through industry plants, right? Professor Dolores Jane Umbridge, who is the most, she's just this most, like, the terrifying, bureaucratic, tiny mustache man type figure who hates children, has no regard for magical creatures, nor does she have any regard for the actual teachings at Hogwarts, right? You could see that she bans clubs, right? Which further leads to this atomized individualism. They don't properly teach you how to defend yourself, right? The defense against the dark arts is almost like a rosary or prayer, where you learn that. And Umbridge and the sort of ministry influence at Hogwarts this year kind of shows how they don't want us to know about the truth. You know, they don't want us to learn, as G.K. Chesterton said, that the biggest thing they don't teach you in modern public secular education is the fact that there is a truth, and if you know it, you know what it is, and you know how to speak it, it makes you happy, right? And you can see how she hates beauty as well. They remove all of the beautiful artwork adorned at Hogwarts. They just take it all down, right? And Harry, he almost he continues the Hogwarts tradition. He preserves the Hogwarts tradition in his own hands, right? He founds what's called Dumbledore's Army, the Resistance, right? Where, okay, the Umbridge, who is the new professor of the Defense Against the Dark Arts, even though she's not teaching them how to do that. So the characters get worried that, okay, well, they're not teaching us. Harry, how about you do it? And initially he's hesitant, but then he realizes, no, I have to do this, right? And Harry almost becomes a lot more priestly in this one, right? Like he almost becomes like a Moses Christ. Like he's the leader of his people. He's almost like a bishop, right? And he's teaching the students real magic, and how to overcome the darkness of the times, right? Which is very much what we as Christians should do. We need to teach people, you know, the real God. We need to teach people about real history, real books, real ways to overcome all of this darkness that we're seeing now in our current day, right? That's why you see me with cross, rosary, right? Miraculous medal. This is real magic, so to speak. And now, of course, I'm not saying magic in the sense of real world occultism. I'm just saying how magic, how it functions in this story, is very much akin to, it's not a one-to-one, but it's very compatible to what we as Christians believe, and the spiritual power that we need from God, right? So the title itself, Order of the Phoenix. This is, a lot of people take issue with this title because every other Harry Potter title is a mystery, right? It's a mystery of the MacGuffin in the plot or a certain character, and we need to figure out how it relates to the story. But what's interesting here is that the Order of the Phoenix is not a mystery, or at least it appears that way. Now, Harry, when he's reunited with the wizards in the wizarding world, he learns about the Order of the Phoenix, and this is why his friends have not been writing to him. Dumbledore, who distances himself from Harry in this story, which further leads to that isolation, which of course he apologizes to him at the end. They have formed, or they have resurrected, this society that was in place before in the first Wizarding War to protect against the threat of Voldemort. And now Dumbledore was always there, but now he invites the kids to be a part of it, right? So the Order of the Phoenix, in a lot of ways, is also like the church, right? Like the apostles, right? Going out in the world. They could also be read as like the sort of Knights of Columbus, right? They're almost like the Death Eaters or the Masons, and then the Order of the Phoenix is the Knights of Columbus, who were founded as a sort of way to counteract the Masons, right? And the name of the order is very peculiar. The Phoenix, right? Throughout this whole series, there's constant symbolism of phoenixes, right? Dumbledore has the pet phoenix, Fawkes, who has aided Harry in the past journeys, and the promotional material for this story, book and movie. The book very much has this blue color palette, and the film as well. Now, if you've seen the artwork that I have posted for this film, you will see how I use that very blue color palette mixed with the sort of geometric, formal, labyrinthian design of the Department of Mysteries, right? With the orange, reddish phoenix blazing in the background. And this is to show, and of course blue and orange are at the opposite ends of the color spectrum. You can see how it is carrying the themes of the earlier Harry Potter films of finding light in the darkness, but now it's not as black and white, which I think is interesting. That doesn't mean that there is no good or evil, but as we grow older, these temptations, these evils can become a lot harder to fight. They can become a lot harder to overcome. But so you see this orange phoenix amidst this sea of blue, right? Which blue, of course, in many traditions, like the Eastern traditions, represents the unknown, right? Or the divine, right? Like the blue kind of gods and whatnot sorry, hold on one second. In like Hinduism and whatnot. And blue can also be read as the unknown in our own Western tradition, right? Moses in the whale. What is the ocean, right? It is just a vast blue blob of immense depths that we still to this day don't even really know that much about. And so blue is also very indicative of the human mind and how much we don't know, right? And so you see this, and then in the midst of it is the orange phoenix, right? That is the guiding light, right? The phoenix is not only the guiding light that Harry is inhibited from seeing, yet, right, because I talked about Fawkes being the Holy Spirit, but also Harry is, sorry, I'm just kind of riffing right now. I don't really have a script. I just want this to feel natural. And of course the orange and the phoenix is to foreshadow Harry's eventual death and resurrection, right, in the last one. Because the phoenix, of course, is the bird that dies and rises from the ashes, right? This story, it's very frustrating. It's very tough. It's brutal. It's not really a fun story to watch, even though there is glimpses of fun stuff and humor like all the Harry Potters have. But this one is particularly psychologically demanding and pressing, I guess you could say, because Harry's really attacked in this one through the mind and, of course, body and soul, right? He's being mind controlled by Voldemort, right? And that's an interesting thing. Like I said, the mind controlling isn't all in Voldemort's control. You can see that he even has visions that allows him to eventually save Mr. Weasley. Mr. Weasley, he's like the Chad conspiracy theorist, almost like Alex Jones searching for the truth. He sees him in the Department of Mysteries, which gives him implants the clue in his mind, because he keeps seeing images of the Department of Mysteries, the prophecy, everything. And in that, he sees literally in real time, or we didn't know if it just happened, but either way, he sees something that actually did or is happening, which is Nagini, Voldemort's pet snake, who is almost like the inversion of Fawkes, Dumbledore's pet phoenix, brutally just like, I mean, attacks and almost kills Mr. Weasley, who's searching for the truth, right? Which, like I said, I think that highlights a lot of the kind of people that are in the conspiracy world, so to speak. I mean, and of course, broader, the Christian world. Like, we want to know the truth, and it's always suppressed and attacked, right? And this, like I said, it's not all gloomy and depressing. I mean, we get to see them bring Mr. Weasley to safety. When Harry visits the Weasleys during Christmas break, they all thank him. And it just shows how the Weasleys are the most lovely family ever, right? Who doesn't love the Weasleys? I mean, unless you're the Malfoys, right? It's so nice, like the mom like they don't have a lot of money, but the mom hand makes all of their gifts. She gives them sweaters, clothing, scarves, right? Which, I mean, not only is it really nice, they serve an actual purpose, right? They're not part of this industrial machine. She's not buying them all of this crap that they don't need, right? And of course, I say that having all this crap I don't need, but I digress. Yeah, and in this sequence, it segues into quite possibly the most important scene in the entire story or film. I want you guys to remember, I'm pulling from both the book and the movie. This isn't like a movie review. It's just me, exploring the continuum of the film and the book that I think both go in hand. Like, I don't think the books and the films are fundamentally in tension. I think they complement each other and highlight things that I would not have seen in either or. Now, in this film, Harry seeks advice from his godfather, Sirius Black, right? Which, in hindsight, if I did Prisoner of Azkaban and all the ones before, I could have, laid the groundwork for his character, but this is just how it is. I wanted to talk about this, so I'm going to do it. And Harry, through all the mind control and the political oppression, like he's being attacked by Voldemort, the Ministry, everyone. Like, it feels like he's against them, and he doesn't know what to do, and he feels so angry, and he lashes out on his friends, right? And he had never really done that. Like you see how, like, this story is just not like the other ones, right? And so he feels like he's becoming like Voldemort, and he tells this to his godfather, Sirius, and he just doesn't know what to think. He's feeling so angry all the time. Maybe I'm becoming more like Voldemort, right? And of course, all of us have gone through these kind of experiences, right? Harry really encapsulates the Gen Z spirit, right? And it's obviously universal because it's not just us that have dealt with these problems, guys. It's our parents, our grandparents. We've all been through this struggle, and this is why we need to be together, united under one mystical body of Christ, right? And Sirius tells him, "You are not a bad person, Harry. You are a very good person whom very bad things have happened to," right? And people really need to remember this, right? When we get so down upon ourselves, we think that maybe we're no different than the people we hate. Maybe we're just as bad. Maybe we should just give up, right? But we have to remember we are good because we have God on our side, right? And Sirius tells something that's even more profound, yet simple at the same time. He explains to Harry that the world is not split into Death Eaters and good people. We all have light and dark in us. It's the part that we choose to act on that makes us who we really are, right? And of course, this teaching that he gives Harry will be of vital importance, right, in his showdown with Voldemort in the Ministry of Magic. And that's another thing. That's what's so cool, like illustrating how psychological this one is. Harry and Voldemort's showdown it's not even like, they don't even touch wands, I don't think so. It's not sword and shield or gun warfare. It's all in the mind, right? And of course, the geometric formal design of the Ministry of Magic and the Department of Mysteries, you can see how Harry is not only going to the physical location of the Department of Mysteries, he's also descending into the underworld, the labyrinth of his own mind, right? And of course, they're trying to receive the well. All right, let me digress. So Harry gets a vision in his head of Sirius being tortured by Voldemort in the Department of Mysteries. Ron and Hermione tell him that maybe it's not real, or maybe he just wants you to see this. And Harry's like, well, even if it is, like, let's just say it is real. Am I supposed to? And Voldemort wanted me to see it to lure me in. What am I supposed to do? Just let him die? He's the last family I have left, right? And so then he wants to do this on his own. Yet the characters convince Harry, no, we need to go with you, Harry. You need us. That's the thing. We need to be together. We can't do all these things on our own, right? And of course, they get discovered by Umbridge, right? Because Dumbledore has been kicked out of Hogwarts. Umbridge is now the headmaster of Hogwarts. And the subversion of Hogwarts and Dumbledore is, of course, very indicative of just how authentic masculine, basically how the establishment is so anti-real masculinity, right? Because Dumbledore exemplifies that real masculinity. So does Sirius, right? He's that wise, disciplined, yet kind of cool, masculine role model that guides us, right? And that people all need in their lives. Thankfully, I have a Sirius Black figure in my life. If you're watching this, you know who you are. And so, and it's really, really interesting. Like almost everything in this movie is so fascinating. You see how Umbridge is willing to use the Cruciatus curse on Harry, right? Which kind of shows the whole like CIA torture and leaks that have come out, right? But so, Hermione bluffs and says, she says, oh, no, wait, Dumbledore's secret weapon. That's what Snape was talking about. And then Umbridge is like, okay, take me to this Dumbledore's secret weapon. And she's bluffing. She doesn't even know what it is. And so then they take her into the Forbidden Forest, and they don't even know what's, like Hermione was just bluffing, right? But I do think Dumbledore's secret weapon is literally just Dumbledore, his providence, right, and his guidance. They trust in Dumbledore. It's almost like God, like how it's God's secret weapon. He's the author of all life. We have to trust him, you know. And because of this, they were like just through this providential sequence, they're later bailed out by Hagrid's half brother, who was established earlier, and the centaurs, right? And you kind of see like this theme of like the nature rising up against the machine, right? Kind of like Tolkien. And so then they go, and Harry with his friends have to go to the belly of the beast, the Department of Mysteries and the Ministry of Magic in London. They have to infiltrate the literal deep state. And so while they're looking through the prophecy, in this prophecy room, it almost looks like a data center, or like it's like the Library of Alexandria, the way it like crumbles down, like the destruction of the Library of Alexandria. And yeah, it just feels like this sort of like secret data center that like has all of the ministry's secrets and is withheld from the public. And this is where Harry finds the prophecy, where he is foretold to defeat. It is prophesied that he will defeat the Dark Lord through the power that the Dark Lord knows not, right? Which we've kind of always known that it's love, right? Like there's nothing really ambiguous about it. And it's always in this through the first one, which is part of why I think that this whole series is genius. It's so beautiful, right? And obviously they get a run in with the Death Eaters, who they know he's there. You see this whole like intelligence network level conflict of the Order of the Phoenix and the Death Eaters, right? And so Lucius Malfoy, right, Draco's father, who is a very high-ranking member of the Death Eaters, right, which, of course, the Death Eaters are almost like the Illuminati, the satanic occult elite that serve Voldemort, right? He tells Harry, have you ever wanted to know how you got that scar? How is it that you were able to defeat Voldemort, right? He almost offers him this kind of secret knowledge, right? And of course, Harry, from the first installment, he already knows the answer to this, right? I mean, Dumbledore just tells him it's love. There's nothing much else to it. There is no secret esoteric knowledge you need to defeat evil. You need to be humble, and you need to do the thing that the enemy cannot do, which is love, right? And so he lies to Harry and is being deceptive and tells him, you can know all these secrets if you just give me that prophecy. And of course, Harry, as usual, he's with his friends. He remembers who he's he has positive support with him, and he realizes that this is BS and tells him, well, I think I can wait a little longer. All right, so you see Harry growing up, becoming more of a leader, more of a man, right? And so then they have this whole fight, and now they're in this sort of other realm of the Department of Mysteries, right? And they have Harry's friends at gunpoint, or I guess at one point, and he tells them, come on, just give me that prophecy. You'll know all the secrets. If you don't want to learn all the secrets, then you can watch your friends die. And of course, again, Harry rejects he rejects this possibility of secret knowledge or enlightenment or whatever one you call it, and he prioritizes the safety of his friends, right? And then the Order of the Phoenix comes in. The members of the Order of the Phoenix, the exemplary adults in Harry's life, they come in and fight the Death Eaters. And of course, Harry's friends take kind of the back seat, and Harry, you could see Harry becoming like a warrior, right? He fights alongside his godfather. They have a really cool like it's like a doubles, like Smash Bros match, right? He and his godfather are going at it with Lucius Malfoy and some other Death Eater. I don't even know if he was named. Now, it's so great. They disarm the other guy, or Harry disarms the other guy, and he's just like out of the fight. And then Sirius goes, nice one, James, right? Like in that moment, he forgot that Harry was even Harry, and he just saw him as his father, which for reference, Sirius Black was Harry's father's best friend, and that's why he's his godfather. And so you see this, it's great. They're fighting together. Sirius disarms Lucius. He's out of the fight. It looks like they won, but then, of course, out of nowhere, Bellatrix, the ultimate bad bitch, witch, who is Sirius's cousin, by the way, she comes out of nowhere. Avada Kedavra. Sirius he's gone. He's dead. And that's it. I mean, it's all of a sudden, it's brutal, right? And Sirius is gone. This was the last family that Harry had, right? He was like a father figure to him. He was one of the only things still giving him hope and was always with him, and now he's gone. And it's so brutal. And of course, Bellatrix, who is just a deranged, crazy person, laughs at killing her own cousin, yelling, I killed Sirius Black. And of course, this infuriates Harry. Lupin has to hold him down. But of course, Harry is just in such a rage, he breaks free. And actually, this is where it gets really, really good, is because Harry is tempted with using dark magic in this moment. All before, Harry was very ethical in his magic use. Now here, he just lights up the Cruciatus curse on Bellatrix, right? One of the 3 unforgivable curses, the torture curse. But interestingly enough, because Harry is good and he doesn't really want to harm anybody, the spell doesn't work, which I think is fascinating. But then now, coming in is the Dark Lord himself, who further tempts Harry to use this dark magic, and he tells him, come on, Harry. She killed him. She deserves it. You have to mean it. Come on, Harry. You know the spell. You see, Voldemort wants Harry to commit murder. He wants to show Harry, yeah, we're just the same, dude. You're evil too. Come on. Come on. You see, it's all lies and deception, right? But then Voldemort, it seems like they're about to fight, or you don't know what's going to happen, but then Dumbledore, the Chad mythic sage, comes in to protect Harry, and he has his epic mythical level showdown with Voldemort. It is just that cool. You see these guys, like it's almost like seeing, like it's just, you see how these guys operate on like a different level than you or me or like the common person does, right? And Dumbledore seems to be controlling the fight. However, Voldemort eventually, after breaking all the glass, Dumbledore shields it, turns it into glass, or sorry, shields Harry from the glass shards, and turns it into sand. Yeah, he just eviscerates, he shatters all the glass from the ministry offices, just kind of trying to show you how these people will eventually be just devoured by Voldemort, the ministry deep state, right? I thought that was interesting. And so then Voldemort descends into the sand, and you see the sand creeping up, and now he infiltrates Harry's mind in like a dark, inverted, incarnational way. It's so disturbing. And he is just torturing the living shit out of Harry, showing him his worst memories ever. He's mocking him, calling him weak, right? And then Harry has this vision of him looking in the mirror, trying to look away, and then Voldemort just dominated, like, just look at me. And you see Harry look back, and in the mirror he sees he's Voldemort, right? He's constantly trying to lie to him by telling him that you're just no different, dude. Come on, you're not special, right? And Harry is just, this is like it's the climax of the story, right? I mean, Voldemort has been mind controlling him throughout the story, but now he is literally inhabiting his mind, right? Torturing him. And what makes this scene so beautiful is he sees all of this bad stuff that has happened to him. Voldemort mocks him, right? But then, of course, Harry, in the midst of all this, in his worst condition imaginable, he sees his friends coming to be with him at his side. And they were able to stick with him even in his worst state. They still kept faith in him. He sees this and he realizes, no. Like, he's being tortured, and then he just has this realization, no, you know what, Voldemort? He tells him, you're the weak one, because you'll never know love or friendship. And I feel sorry for you. And then he literally just, because he realizes this, remembers this, the power of love, he eviscerates Voldemort from his mind, finally freeing himself from this demonic oppression, possession, whatever you want to call it. And that does not mean that the fight is over, but the fight in the mind, Harry has won, because he knows the power of the Dark Lord knoweth not. He doesn't need esoteric, secret, occult knowledge or just mere willpower to win. He has love and humility, family, loyalty, tradition on his side, right? It's so beautiful, you know? I think this story just really shows kind of what's going on in our real world, right? With, we're being attacked spiritually, psychologically, biologically, right? With just how they're literally trying to change all aspects of reality, right? And this is why we need the church, we need Christ, or in this case, the Order of the Phoenix, to overcome this, right? We need the Phoenix that will rise from the ashes, right? It's always going to do it. That's why Fawkes is just the ultimate guiding light because, I mean, he's eternal, right? Like he constantly is born again, right, through the ashes. And Harry needs to remember this, right? We need to remember this, right? And there's just so many other funny things. Like you see, like Umbridge is kind of like the Boomer mind matrix, and Fred and George just going in with the fireworks, destroying everything, is just like the ultimate collapse of the Boomer mind matrix. Yeah, so I think this story works on so many levels. I think it might be Harry Potter at its peak. It's so brutal and frustrating, yet beautiful, and has a positive ending and shows how we can overcome these dark and sinister forces that are present in our own world, right? Thank you very much. This is Von Day. I will be continue doing my Harry Potter series. I'm going to go do Chamber of Secrets, and I'm going to do other movie/story analysis as well. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Any thoughts you guys have, agree, disagree, leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Thank you very much, guys.